Hello, it's Trains Are Awesome, and today I'm going to be discussing a motorized Thomas Iceberg that I recently made. So, let's dive right in. Starting at the top, we have the Playrail Gold Thomas. This was given out at the Playrail Thomas Fair as a prize in 1997. It's actually unknown how many were made, but it's thought to be very few. The pack included a gold-plated Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle. The overpriced Tomy Oliver. You probably all know about this one. The Tomy Oliver was never released in the United States, so it goes for some ridiculous prices. Another one I'm guessing all of you know about. In 2014, the Trackmaster range was rebranded into Trackmaster Revolution. Among the many downgrades were less realism, more squashed proportions, and spiky wheels. Prototypes of the flip-face Gordon and Percy exist, but they were cancelled and never made it out to market. Except, there is a possibility that Percy might have slipped out. The infamous Trackmaster Alfie. What's so special about Alfie, you ask? Well, for starters, he's practically never seen outside of Canada. He was also only in production for 3 months, making him very limited in quantity. He's also just such a wacky model. Starting in 2014, the Playrail engines were redesigned to fit a AA battery instead of a C and be more accurate to the CGI series. Moving on down, we reach the Trackmaster Monty. Monty was only released in select Eastern European countries like Poland and Hungary, unlike his brother Max. Fisher-Price really screwed over collectors with that decision. The Playrail silver-plated Thomas was available in 2018 as a lottery prize, and only 100 were made. The 3-pack came with the silver Thomas, of course, and 2 gray ladle trucks. The Talk and Action engines were released in 1999 and the early 2000s. These were the precursors to all future talking engines. Each time the engines ran over a special green piece of track, they would talk and either speed up, slow down, or stop. All the Playrail releases spoke Japanese, but Thomas, Percy, and James were also released in the Tamika World range and spoke English in both the UK and a US dub. Also, the Talk and Action Diesel 10 is highly sought after for its very awesome movable claw. Playrail released the Thumper at Boulder Mountain set in 1999. Included was a tiny, non-motorized thumper. This just has to be the cutest Playrail item ever made. I mean, just look at it. The Playrail Donald and Douglas Snowplow set was also released in 1999. This was actually the only way to acquire Playrail Douglas. The set is pretty rare nowadays, and if you thought that Tomy Oliver was price gouged, well, I don't think you've ever seen one of these for sale. To finish up the second layer, we have the Chinese counterfeits. When Fisher-Price switched to the Revolution line, all the tooling for the old Trackmaster line was still there in China. Some third parties started producing knockoff Trackmaster models using these molds, but they took some liberties of their own, including converting every engine to a flat-type drive unit. Not gonna lie, what we got is pretty cool. And beginning our third and final layer for today is the one and only Playrail Blushing Thomas. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you probably know that I'm pretty passionate about this model. Its face is Thomas's shocked face with pink blush on the cheeks and there were only 360 of them made in total. I also happen to own one of these myself. Just a little reminder. Eugen, a subsidiary of Tomy, released a pullback candy dispenser version of Thomas and Percy based on their Play-Rail counterparts. There was a little container within their cabs that you could store candy in. Apparently, Hick Toy Company planned to release a Trackmaster Daisy, but it was canceled because they couldn't decide what rolling stock it should come with. When the Play-Rail Thomas range was first launched in 1992, the items were produced in Japan. However, in 1995, production moved to Thailand. The Made in Japan engines are considered rarer because they were produced for a shorter period of time, especially the James. Hick Toy Company also planned to release a Target-exclusive remote-control glow-in-the-dark Scangly called Spooky Scangly, but it was sadly cancelled. And our final item for today is another cancelled Hick Toys one. This time a prototype Charlie, with purple wheels, might I add. And that wraps up part 1 of my Iceberg video. Thank you all so much for watching, and be on the lookout for part 2. Au revoir!